Hi, welcome to Old Fort and Kitsbow. I'm David Bilstrom. I'm the CEO here. Come on in, let's take a look. So we just moved in and we're working on this quite a bit. This is something cool we'll talk about at the end. But we take everyone through here and show them our warehouse. There's about 12,000 items of Kitsbow greatness in all those shelves. We just moved all of this inventory from near Sacramento, California, here to Old Fort so we can ship direct every day ourselves. In fact, today's shipment just left. We're going to be doing some interesting things in this part soon. We'll talk about that later. But right now I want to show you all of our raw material. So this is fabric that's coming from all over the world. We buy the best for each application. There's often multiple materials in each garment. Shoulder pads, elbow pads, knee pads, they're coming from Switzerland. We have mesh, rolls of mesh in here. That's coming from Italy. We have fabric coming here from the United States. There's quite a bit of Pendleton wool on these shelves. That's all coming from Oregon. And it stays here in these bags for dust control. And it stays in these tubes so that we can get to the bottom ones without disturbing the ones on top. Every day we're going to take some of this raw material upstairs to turn it into clothes. One of my favorite parts of Kitsbow is that we have our own brewery. Right behind that door, in about May, Hillman Brewing from Asheville is going to be opening their new brewery here. And as you can see, it'll be very convenient for me. Let's go upstairs. So this building was built over 50 years ago to be a mill for socks. Just to our right outside this door is Mill Creek, which is now a protected trout stream. And up here is our machine floor. This is where all the material comes up from below. In general, they're going to bring up a couple of rolls of raw material every day, put them in the work in progress tubes over there. Same idea as we have downstairs. And they're going to load up this machine to do the cutting. So this is a computer-controlled cutter. We can cut up to 25 layers. Right now, they're clearing it of a previous cut, and they're going to do one layer. Plaids are particularly tricky, as the cut has to start at a very specific spot in order for all the pieces to come out. The screen allows the operator to lay out the product, lay out each of the pieces. There's a vacuum bed underneath. That black round piece is the foot that holds the fabric still while the cutter does its work. The suction keeps the fabric flat on the table. And because they're only cutting one layer, they've got to put plastic on top of it in order to keep the air holding in place. There are incredible efficiencies from this. We get to have nested pieces, especially if it wasn't a plaid. We can cut many pieces at the same time, and above all, every single cut is precise. When you don't do the cut right, then you can't sew it right. When you can't sew it right, your garment comes out either too thin, too snug, or too loose, too big, because these dimensions weren't correct. So after the pieces are cut, they're assembled onto trays. Everything you need to make one of the pieces of apparel is on this tray. The label, all the pieces, different fabrics, it's all ready to go. Then these carts get rolled over here to the assembly areas. So we're using the Toyota way, which means we're going to make one garment at a time. That allows us to ensure quality, but it also means that we only make it when we're ready to use it. We might make these just after you've ordered them or just before they've been ordered. We're not going to have a large inventory of them, which means we've always got the right colors. So these two makers are making the pieces that go into the shirt. Here they're making the pocket flaps, which is a snap and a ribbon detail. They're matching this to the plaid pattern of each shirt, which is why they're all kept together. Every machine is different. They're going to go from machine to machine with the pieces of one shirt and complete one shirt all at once. Once they have all the pieces, they take their tray, and these trays come over to this area where we're going to see final assembly. Here's a great example of a purpose-specific machine. It's got a particular kind of guide for making a seam. Here's a single needle machine that doesn't have the guide, but it's already set up with a template for a very specific seam tolerance. Here's a machine with 2 needles to make those 2 perfect lines of a seam. So all these machines have their own specific use, and when they come all the way around to this end, we have a finished shirt. So these are shirts that they made earlier today on the tray. In a few minutes they'll do final inspection and they'll be ready to sell. So I wish nobody knew this, but we have these for the people who send in garments for repair that didn't wash them first. In the old days, someone had to take them home to their house to wash, and now we've got them here. So this is some of our line. We don't have one of everything yet out. We're going to do that downstairs in the ride house that you saw. But this is representative of many of the products we've been making for a while. All the icons, men's and women's. Now we have relaxed fit for guys my size, but they're not represented here. We have some of the road products down at the far end, the jeans, the hoodies, all very popular. And then down here, you can see the technical tees, the women's jerseys, some of the other men's jersey options for road. So this is our design studio. And we're still building it out. In fact, we've only been in this building for 15 weeks since we had the press conference announcing we'd signed the lease. So we're doing pretty well. The product design team is accessing all these samples and swatches. We test everything with the bike, so we have a couple trainers here to bring the bikes up. We're constantly evaluating the technology and what's possible in the new fabrics, and then building garments that we can road test to make sure they actually work as described. A lot of what Kitsbow gets credit for is the design and the manufacture, but a big piece of it is using the very best fabrics and trims we can find worldwide. These snaps are from Japan because we couldn't find any better. The mesh inside the back of the yoke here, that's from Italy. So we source the best stuff wherever it is. So that was our factory, but what's behind me is something we're working on for later this year. We don't have a specific date yet, and the concept is still in the very early stages, but we want a place where cyclists can come to Old Fort and hang out. So we're calling it the Old Fort Ride House. Roadies, single track, gravel, e-bikes. We'll have something to eat, something to drink, and it'll be the only place in the world where you can try everything we make, every color, every size. And there's over 1,000 of those. So we'll have those here as well. So we'd love for you to come back later this year. I can't give you an exact date, but we'll ride any Wednesday. So come on to Old Fort and we'll hit the trails.